Let's talk about a psychological tool that is so powerful, it honestly feels like a cheat code for life. The best part? It's not about doing more. It's about doing profoundly, strategically less. This is strategic indifference.
I mean, really think about that for a second. How much of your precious, finite energy, your focus, your sanity, do you just pour into a black hole, trying to manage other people, trying to get them to see things your way, to meet your expectations, to just do what they said they were going to do? It's exhausting, right? It's a battle you just can't win.
You know, this constant drive to manage things that are completely unmanageable, it's a psychological prison that we lock ourselves into. We call it the controller's trap, and it comes from this sneaky belief that our intervention isn't just helpful, but that it's absolutely necessary. We see a problem in someone else's life, and we get this compulsive itch to step in, to fix it, to give advice. We tell ourselves we're just being helpful, but really, we're just stuck on a hamster wheel of our own making.
This right here, this says it all, doesn't it? You've somehow become the unpaid director of a movie you never even auditioned for, starring actors who refuse to learn their lines, and the entire production is funded by your own peace of mind. You're yelling action while they're scrolling on their phone, and cut after they mess up the scene for the 10th time. It's a thankless, draining, and ultimately a completely powerless role.
And let's be crystal clear, this is not a harmless little habit. This over-involvement, this hyper-Karen, it comes with a massive psychological price tag. You are literally trading your own mental and emotional health for the complete illusion of control over someone else. It's the worst deal on the table, and yet we take it over and over again.
And here's where it gets really nasty. Because these costs, they compound. The constant anxiety, that's from trying to control things you were never meant to control in the first place. The resentment? Well, that starts to bubble up when you realize your heroic efforts are never really appreciated. Then your own sense of self starts to get shaky because your identity is all tangled up in being their fixer. And here's the final irony. The very people you're trying so hard to help, they actually start to lose respect for you. Why? Because they see someone with weak boundaries whose peace is way too easy to disrupt.
Look, this isn't some new age problem we just discovered. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus was talking about this exact trap almost 2,000 years ago. He understood that real power isn't about bending the world to your will. Nope, it's about having total mastery over your inner world. And step one is drawing a razor-sharp line in the sand between their stuff and your stuff.
So if the controller's trap is the prison, what's the key that gets you out? Well, it's a simple, almost brutally elegant shift in your entire perspective. It's a two-word philosophy that changes everything. Let them.
This is the absolute core of what we're talking about today, strategic indifference. It's not about being cold or not caring. It's about being a brilliant strategist with your energy. You make a conscious, deliberate choice to withdraw. You stop pushing, you stop pulling, you stop reminding, you stop fixing, you simply watch.
Now, we have to draw a very bright line here because this is not apathy. Apathy is weak, apathy is lazy, it's just giving up. That's passive disengagement. Strategic indifference, on the other hand, is a power move. It is active observation. You're not checking out of the game, you're just leaning back in your chair to get a much, much clearer view of the entire board. You're conserving your power, not surrendering it.
So why does this work so well? Because it completely changes the physics of the situation. See, when you're always jumping in, you're a variable in their equation. You're the cushion that saves them from the consequences. You enable their worst habits, and you actually obscure the truth of who they are. But when you pull back, the equation gets a whole lot simpler, and the truth has nowhere left to hide.
Here's how it plays out, step by step. First, you make that conscious choice to pull your energy back. You stop trying to pilot their ship. Then, suddenly, they're alone at the helm, forced to deal with the results of their own navigation. And this is the magic part. Without you to blame or lean on, their true character comes out, their competence, their integrity, or the lack of it. And what's the result for you? You get crystal clear insight into who this person really is, all without a single argument.
Just let that sink in for a second. All your effort, all your energy, all your helping, it was actually blinding you. It was creating a fog that kept you from seeing the raw truth. By stepping back, you're not being passive. You're setting a stage. You're creating a vacuum that they are forced to fill with their own character, and you get a front row seat.
Okay, enough fury. Let's make this real. How do you actually start doing this in your day-to-day life? It's time to put together your playbook for strategic indifference.
Let's run through these common scenarios. You've got the friend who's always late. The old you sends frantic texts, gets angry, and works yourself up. The new you state your plan once. I'm leaving at 7. And then, you leave at 7. Let them experience the consequence of an empty table. Or the colleague who keeps missing deadlines. Instead of stressing out and doing their work for them, you step back. Let them be the one to explain it to the boss. And what about when someone misunderstands you? Instead of desperately trying to explain yourself, begging for validation, you just let them. You let them have their perception. Your reality doesn't need their approval.
See, this is way more than just a few clever tactics. When you really practice this, it becomes a total reframe of how you see the world. You're shifting from a life of anxious, knee-jerk reactions to one of calm, deliberate observation. You're cultivating what we call a sovereign mind.
And this, right here, is the ultimate truth. This whole frantic chase to control other people is a complete waste of time. It's just a grand distraction from the only thing you ever had real authority over in the first place, yourself. Your reactions, your choices, your boundaries, your peace. Once you truly master these, the neurotic need to manage anyone else, it just vanishes. That's real power.
So I'll just leave you with this question. Imagine all of that energy you've been wasting on other people's dramas. What could you build? What could you create if you finally reclaimed it all and poured it back into your own story? If you're ready to master this kind of thinking, make sure you subscribe to Dark Blueprint, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And then, check out our other videos for a deeper dive into the architecture of power.